Blue Spot 7-year-old single pot still Irish whiskey. Should you be chasing this? Stay tuned for the Whisky Whistle. Greetings, my whiskey people. Mark Kaufman here for Whisky Whistle on YouTube, sharing a little whiskey awesomeness from Winnipeg, the center of North America, bringing you another special Irish whiskey review. And this is a single pot still called Blue Spot, which is cask strength at 7 years old. This also is made by the Midleton Distillery. However, differently, this is bottled for Mitchell & Son, the wine and spirit merchant. I'll just read this. This is one of only 4 whiskeys specifically produced for and sold by an independent wine merchant in Ireland, the Mitchell & Son Fine Wines and Spirits. So that's pretty neat that we have this partnership with Midleton Distillery and Mitchell & Son Fine Wines and Spirits in Dublin. Pretty cool. Okay, let's get this opened. Remember, if your cork is a little bit stuck, just invert that for a second and then take care and you'll get it off without breaking the cork. Okay, let's get some of that poured. That's a nice amount. Interestingly, this also has a very similar color to the Midleton Very Rare that was the last review. So let's look at the color there. And again, we have this deep Indian golden color, Indian 24 karat gold, perhaps even a little bit darker. And this, by the way, is 58.9% ABV. And listen to the cask selection here. We have bourbon barrels, sherry butts, and Madeira casks. So not finished, but we have 7-year-old bourbon barrels. We have 7-year-old sherry butt matured. We have 7-year-old Madeira cask matured, and possibly older involved in this single pot still whiskey. So this came out not that long ago, and I got very, very lucky in getting this bottle in the fall of last year. I waited. I think I showed up at about 6 o'clock in the morning in order to get in line and wait for a chance to get this and other interesting special release whiskeys. So I'm really glad I got one. Is there anything else I can mention here? So again, yes, this is Midleton single pot still whiskey. This is a mash of unmalted barley as well as malted barley together. The law in Ireland started taxing malt, barley malt. So distillers started to cut back on barley malt and add just green barley to the mash. So that's pretty neat. Let's have a look at the legs here. Now, what happens with whiskey legs when you get into cask strength? You may be thinking that, oh, it's going to be thick. It's going to be thick. But you have to keep in mind that we have one big factor here, and that is this solution, this mixture of water and alcohol, which apparently is most viscous at 48%. So we're quite a bit well over that. So this may actually not appear as thick as you might think. Okay, here we go. Fairly brisk first legs, slower than the Midleton Very Rare. The secondary legs are traveling at a fairly good clip, and then we should even see some tertiary legging happening, which is just starting. I can see that, and that's creeping very, very slowly, likely due to the cask content. Very nice. So we can expect a very mouth coating event here, and let's see if we are correct. Before we get on to the nose, let's remember, subscribe to Whisky Whistle. Hit that little subscribe emblem over in the lower right-hand corner of your viewing device, whatever you're viewing on. So click on that one, hit subscribe to the channel. And if you are enjoying lots of Whisky Whistle, please check me out on Patreon and join the Whisky Whistle crew and support the channel. Patreon.com/Whisky Whistle. With that support, you'll get your name in the credits at the end of each video. You'll get advanced viewing of future Whisky Whistles, shout outs in live streams, and you'll get a Whisky Whistle Glencairn glass, and eventually t-shirts are coming. All right, so onto the nose then. Super, super sweet. The biggest thing that jumps out here for me is the wine maturation. And among those, the Madeira casks are really, really, really potent here. So you've got Madeira driving this nose. Sherry backing it up with some undercurrent. And then you've got overall delicious vanilla-like sweetness coming through with the bourbon casks. Now, smelling this, I wouldn't say that, oh, this smells like single pot still whiskey. It just smells like really, really great, heavily wine cask matured whiskey. And if you put it next to a bunch of single malts, most people would assume this was a single malt from the nose. In the background, you got this little bit of cereal, intense. How do I say? It's not really intense, like intense porridge, an intense porridge note. What does that mean? But it's got this really intense grain husk note coming through at the back of the nose. Really, really beautiful. Really, really enjoyable. You could smell this for an hour and not get bored. But again, it is a little bit geeky to smell your whiskey this long and not drink it. If you do that at a bar, people are going to look at you. Whoa. Super intense, 58.9%. And at the same time, the flavor is more intense than that. And yet the ABV is much softer than that. So it's like you're getting 65% in terms of the flavor intensity. However, for the actual alcoholic strength, it seems more like about 55. The second sip is really where it's at. Beautiful, fruity, like all different types of red fruits. We even have some gooseberry here as well. We have some fresh blackberries. We have all different types of red fruits. Some nice light dried fruits. It's got a little bit of a tropical edge to it. And then big vanilla crescendoing here. Sweet, fruity syrups. Wow. Supremely warming in the mouth. Warming in the heart. The finish is beautifully sweet. Not astringent, not hot. Pretty long for 7-year-old. About, I don't know, 30 seconds-ish. That's pretty impressive. This is a pretty darn impressive whiskey. You might think we have some virgin oak casks here, but what I think is happening here is we have some sherry casks that are first fill where the sherry wasn't necessarily in the barrel very long. And the bourbon, I mean, who knows? Maybe it was 2-year-old straight bourbon as opposed to 4-year-old. So it's got that intensity as well. Again, it's still nowhere near the wood intensity of bourbon, but it's very much like first fill American oak, sherry seasoned, that kind of effect. Well, we got to try this with some water, and this is so contemplative. It's a whiskey that, as you can see, is making my eyes go all over the place, trying to think about what it is that I'm tasting here. And sometimes when you can't put your finger on it, you really need to add some water. And I think we're going to have to go up to about 15 drops here, making that 1 full milliliter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 drops. It's leaving my mouth very thick. It's just like I had I had some Sprite. With water added, you're getting a little more access to the single pot still signature. A little bit more of that that barley husk coming through. And interestingly, the bourbon casks are really showing themselves. We have some intense, lovely, vanilla, toffee-esque, wood-driven notes coming through here. Still very fruity. It's a real fruit bomb. We have blackberries, we got black currants, red currants, some fresh light raisins. And I can still taste outright Madeira coming through here, which is quite lovely. On the back, you will find some tasting notes and stuff here. This is interesting, however. They do mention that it's non-chill filtered, so that's fantastic. And they use the words at least 7 years old. So there could be 8-year-old casks in there. There could be some, who knows? I'm guessing 7-year-old ex-bourbon casks. And I think older Madeira casks. And maybe 8 or 9-year-old ex-sherry butts. Sherry butts, being so big, need more time to show age. So yeah, 8, 9, 10-year-old sherry butts, Madeira, maybe 11 or 12, possibly, and then 7-year-old, a little, not little, but smaller, standard-sized bourbon barrels, which are 54 gallons. Some leather kicking in here, but again, it's really this Madeira event. And I think personally, this is exceptional. It's exceptional as a largely Madeira influenced whiskey. And I think that I like this more than Cavallin's Madeira Solist. With water, you get a little bit more astringency, a little bit more warmth. Still super warming in my mouth. Again, telling me that there's just so much flavor packed in this glass. Well, I highly recommend this. I mean, this is a no-brainer. This is a buy on site. If you see this, let's get on to the Whisky Whistle whiskey score for Blue Spot Single Pot Still Irish Whiskey, 7 years old, cask strength, exclusively bottled for Mitchell & Sons, Fine Wines and Spirits Merchants. That is going to be, it's going to be 91 out of 100. You heard it, 91 out of 100 is the Whisky Whistle whiskey score for Blue Spot Single Pot Still Irish Whiskey, 7 years old. He's a single pot still hug and a big single pot still kiss right on the spot. Well, isn't that amazing? I think this is just a lovely, lovely whiskey. And it's making me think about Redbreast 27-year-old. And it's making me wonder, and I think I have to explore that for 1 second. This is batch 2, 53.5% ABV. I mean, it's the same whiskey, right? Do take care when you leave bottles for a long time. There we go. Just a tiny little bit. I spilled a drop. Okay, so Redbreast 27. You can see my old review from last year. The big difference here is the huge jump in age, the massive, leathery, bookshelfy, library books, lawyer's office, wood shop with the varnishes and all that kind of stuff. A little bit of like a diesel note. But it's like so complex. And then so fruity, so intense. The Redbreast style is a little bit different. Enriched by ruby port casks. Reminds me more of Redbreast 21. But if you're not into that leathery, old book type of a note, this is the way to go. Save yourself about $600 Canadian. Personally, I mean, I think this is just incredible. Whew. Wow. Should we? Should we? Let's do it. Let's get crazy here. Well, now that's really, really well balanced. It's really bumped up the age. It smells like an 18-year-old whiskey now. Intense. So intense. Anyway. Hats off. I don't have a hat on, but if I did, I would take my hat off for Mitchell & Son and this Blue Spot, which is fantastic. I have a Red Spot review. I may not release it. In fact, I might have deleted it because it was just so old now. And I have to get out of the habit of that. And I think I just have to release stuff the way it is. who cares about, the odd little blunder, right? Right? Anyway, super stuff there. And I sure hope you enjoyed that review. My name is Mark Kaufman. You're watching Whisky Whistle. Take care. Be good to yourself. Be good to your body. Take care of your friends. And we'll talk very soon. Bye-bye now.